gas station where I worked nights sat alone on the edge of town. A bright square dropped into a dark field. 4 pumps, cracked concrete, a 2-lane road that went quiet after midnight. By 3 a.m, it felt less like a business and more like a leftover light someone forgot to turn off. Most nights I didn't mind. No manager, no rush. Just me behind the counter, the hum of the coolers, the tired flicker of old fluorescent tubes. I'd lean on the lottery display, half listen to something on my phone, and watch the security monitors cycle through the same empty pictures. Lot, aisles, door, counter. That night, the clock over the cigarettes read a little after 3. I hadn't seen headlights in almost an hour. The lot was empty, pale under the sodium lamps. Inside, the only sounds were the buzzing fridge and the faint tick of the clock. The kind of quiet that feels thick. Then a smear of light moved across the monitor, showing the lot. A dark hatchback turned off the road and rolled between the pumps. It didn't pull up to one. It drifted into the middle of the lot and just stopped. Angled wrong, engine still running. I waited for it to back up or straighten out. It didn't move. I told myself it was nothing. People park badly all the time. Maybe they were checking directions, texting, calming down after a fight. I was still building a normal explanation when a second set of headlights slid into frame. A smaller car turned in behind the first, one headlight a little dimmer. It eased up beside the hatchback, also ignoring the pumps, and came to a stop facing the store. Now both cars sat side by side in the center of the lot, engines low and steady. On the monitor, I watched the first driver's window go down, then the second. 2 heads turned toward each other. The image was grainy, but not enough to blur what they were wearing. No faces, just black ski masks, eye holes like dark coins. My mouth went dry. They didn't move like drunk kids on a dare. No laughing, no fumbling. Their movements were small, controlled. They talked for a few seconds, then both doors opened almost together. They stepped out and headed straight for the store. They wore dark clothes, heavy boots. One reached back into his car, then his arm came out and settled at his side under his jacket in a way that looked too practiced. I couldn't see what was there. I still knew exactly what my brain had decided it was. The front door chimed as they stepped up onto the curb, that soft, friendly sound completely wrong now. Through the glass, I could see them clearly, 2 figures coming straight toward me, masks absorbing the light. I didn't think about the register or the cameras or how I'd explain anything later. I thought about distance and speed and what happens if someone like that decides you're in the way. I dropped behind the counter and ran. Past the candy, past the coffee station, my shoes loud on the tile. The store felt longer than I remembered as I cut down the center aisle toward the back. I heard the door chime again as they came inside, but I was already grabbing the handle of the single-stall bathroom at the end of the hall. I slipped in, slammed the door, and twisted the lock until it caught. The bathroom was hardly bigger than a closet. 1 toilet, 1 sink, mirror with a crack along the bottom edge. The ceiling fan buzzed weakly. I slid down until my back was pressed against the door, feet braced, hands flat on the cold tile. Then I listened. Footsteps. 2 sets, steady, not rushed. moving across the front of the store. A faint clink of glass. Something light falling. One of them said something low, the words lost in the wall. The sound shifted, coming closer. Down the aisle, toward the back. Each step felt like it landed directly against my spine through the thin door. My breathing got loud in my own ears. I tried to quiet it and only made it shakier. The footsteps stopped right outside. The handle turned once, twice, rattled harder when it wouldn't move. I pushed my shoulders deeper into the wood like that would help. A man's voice came through, muffled but clear enough. "Come on out," he said. "You don't want to make this worse." My hands were numb when I reached for my phone. The emergency number was muscle memory. The dispatcher sounded too bright for that dim little room. I told her I was at the station on the back road outside town, that 2 masked men were in the store, that I thought they were armed, that I was locked in the bathroom. The words came out chopped and uneven. She understood anyway. While I talked to her, I raised my voice on purpose. "I've called the police," I yelled, making sure it carried through the door. "They're on their way right now." On the other side, the handle went still. There was a pause that felt like it lasted an entire hour compressed into a few seconds. Then a single hard impact against the door, like a kick that didn't follow through, and footsteps moving away. I stayed on the line. The dispatcher asked what I could hear, told me officers were coming, told me to stay where I was. Out in the store, I heard drawers yanked open, a crash, maybe the register, maybe a display. Coins hit the floor with that thin, ringing sound. Then, quiet. I didn't move. My legs were cramping. My back ached from holding myself against the door. But I stayed there until I heard a different kind of voice echo down the hallway. "Police. If anyone's in the back, call out." Only then did I unlock the door. The hallway seemed brighter than before. As I stepped out, an officer appeared at the end, hand lifted in a calming gesture, eyes scanning me for blood I didn't have. Behind him, the store looked like someone had shaken it in their fist. A rack of chips on its side. Cooler door hanging open. Cold fog spilling out. The lottery stand cracked near the counter. The cash drawer was twisted and empty. They sat me in the tiny office behind the register, the one with the permanent old coffee smell. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I kept saying I was sorry for hiding. One officer shook his head. "You did what you were supposed to do," he said. "You're here. That's what matters." I gave my statement while other officers moved through the store, taking photos, talking quietly. At some point, one of them stuck his head into the office and asked if I wanted to see the security footage. I didn't, and I did. I said yes. The old system split the monitor into 4 little squares: lot, door, aisles, counter. The officer rolled the footage back a few minutes and pressed play. From that high angle, everything looked smaller and more isolated. The lot was a pale rectangle in a sea of dark. I watched the hatchback glide in and stop nowhere near the pumps. The second car drifted in beside it. The windows rolled down. 2 black masks turned toward each other. On the counter camera, I watched my own small shape, leaning, scrolling, completely unaware. When the men got out, the officer paused and zoomed in as far as the system would allow. On the grainy image, you could still see the shape pulling the fabric of one man's jacket at his side. The other had something in his hand for a second before tucking it close. "Yeah," the officer beside me said quietly. "Those are guns." He hit play again. What stuck with me wasn't the moment they hopped the counter later or ripped the drawer open. It was the path they took first. From the front door camera, they didn't even glance at the racks by the entrance. On the aisle camera, after they walked in, they turned almost together and headed straight down the main aisle toward the back, toward the hallway, toward the bathrooms. In the narrow hallway view, I watched one of them try the stockroom door, then step right up to the bathroom I was braced against. Even without sound, you could see how close he leaned, head tilted toward the wood, hand resting on the handle. He stayed like that for several long seconds, listening to me breathe on the other side. Only after I must have shouted about the police did he pull back and walk away. Only then did they move to the counter, jump it, wrench open the drawer, sweep what they could into their pockets in quick, practiced motions. Everyone who heard about it later called me lucky. Lucky I noticed the masks. Lucky I ran. Luckily there was a door with a lock. Lucky they just took the money and left before anyone got hurt. But sitting in that cramped office, watching those two masked men ignore the pumps, ignore the easy cash sitting in plain sight, and walk straight down the hallway to stand outside the thin door I was hiding behind, I realized something I've never told anyone. They hadn't come for the money.
Like